And we're back. This is Rustin, a.k.a. Quasi-Mojo with Metalholic Magazine and, of course, Mojo Radio. And with us tonight, our guest, Jill Janus of the Huntress. Thank you for sticking around with us a little while longer.
Sure. Love partying with you guys.
Now, we were just talking about metal and sexuality and all that stuff, but as you've alluded to in the conversation so far, you are into witchcraft, the occult, and all that stuff. I'd love to talk about that a little bit. You're very much into the occult, I know. Tell us a little bit about that and how it sort of plays into your lyrics.
Well, first of all, I think it's interesting now that, I've been a witch my entire life, and now I'm just having to talk about it. I mean, there are people that I've known for years, like 15 years, that didn't really know that I was a practicing witch, and now they're finding out, and they're like, what? How come? Because it is private. It's something that I don't need to talk about. But with the album coming out and the fact that it is, so heavy with all the occult references, I'm now finding that people are really interested in wanting to know more. Basically, Spell Eater is just an homage to my love of spells, and as it should be for my debut album, I am very devoted to it, and I also believe that the goddess has blessed Huntress and that we have doors opening for us because of that. For example, we were in a little bit of a bind with Huntress. We had a different lineup at the time, actually, as the first section of the first band that we put together. The drummer and the bassist, actually, we parted ways, and at that time, it was a little bit scary for the boys. For me, I knew it was the right step, and it was, because we've got Carl Wurtzitsky on drums now, and he's fucking awesome, and we have Eric Harris on bass, formerly a Skeleton Witch. So everything worked out real well. But with Eight of Swords, I actually asked the tarot to reveal one card that would be a successful metal song and take us to the next level. It would be epic. And the Eight of Swords card chose us. And it was a very clear, very focused moment. When that happened, I knew that I had to separate myself from any other ambition and focus only on one thing, and that would be my purpose, which is Huntress. The card represents self-imprisonment with freedom only attainable if you choose to release yourself. So it was powerful, and as soon as I did that, the concept for the video came quickly. The director came. Napalm signed us. We're on tour with Pagan Fest. We just got picked up for the Dragon Force tour. We're now going to Europe to play metal festivals with Megadeth and Creator. And I believe strongly that if you can see it, you can be it. And the visualization that goes into all of this, it's a big part of my life, and it's a big part of my belief in witchcraft.
Obviously, it plays into your lyrics and the imagery and everything, but does it influence your vocals, I guess, is what I want to ask, your intonation, your phrasing, stuff like that?
That's a very interesting question, because indeed it does, and I'll tell you why. Mostly, I get possessed by the Huntress. She's a nasty old crone. She really is the one who runs the show. Also, the reason why we chose an old hag for the cover of Spell Eater is because she is the true Huntress. So Vance Kelly, who did the cover art, which I adore, it is of an old forest hag, and that is the creature that lives within me. She is the Huntress. So when those vocal sounds come out, for example, on Aradia, at the end, and they're that kind of shit, it's from somewhere else. It's from her, and that is a big part of, again, my belief, and it's almost demonic. I still feel like I'm like dusting off demonic cobwebs from the recording sessions. I couldn't even listen to the record for after a month. Like, I nearly lost my mind. So yes, it does. It is based from witchcraft. A lot of the vocal choices I make just because it feels like it's coming from deep space or otherworldly, and it is almost like my head opens up and this thin blue line like goes into the top of my skull, and out come these words. And it's almost like, I'm getting messages from another place or another time or another being. So that's also why I really try to keep this white energy around me, and I'm not a black witch. I try to say I'm a white witch so people will understand that it's not, I need to be protected, because the Huntress is not, she's no fucking around. It actually can get pretty violent and strange.
Now, I wanted to ask you this. It really has nothing so much to do with the music, but it's just of interest to me. The concept of paganism is a very broad term. How do you see it or define it?
Well, I grew up in the woods. That's how I see it. I see it as nature and animals and speaking to spirits of the forest and being part of the fairy realm. Like, say what you will about me. Yeah, I'm totally out there, but I have seen things and believed things that are possibly, unexplainable to others. But my life has been so unique and so colored with, the supernatural that, this is daily life for me. Being pagan, I do my rituals and I, have the witch's calendar and Sabbats and, spells if I need them. But, for me, it's a beautiful existence. It's nature-based, and it's calling on the spirits and calling on, like I said, fairies. If I wasn't in a heavy metal band, I'd live in the middle of the woods and trip my kids off on shrooms, like dancing with fairies. I'm kind of like I'm a little bit of a hippie witch.
Now, when you got together with the guys in the band, did you have a clear vision for the band's sound, or did it sort of develop through jamming together? Or is that sort of what you were talking about a minute ago, where, like the cards and stuff sort of took you to where you needed to be?
I feel that we came together and did have a very clear. I've always had a very clear vision about everything that I do, especially with Huntress. I never will compromise on that, and I feel that the boys, have been, amazing in helping me develop that vision. But it's always been very clear, the sound we wanted, everything. We're growing a lot and we're getting better, but it still sounds like Huntress, even the earlier stuff that we've done.
Jill Janus of Huntress, thank you so much for taking the time. We will do this again. Good luck there with Pagan Fest and your following tour, and we want to see you all across America because you're not playing enough shows on the Pagan Fest tour.
No, more on the way, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on today. Stay metal.